If you are looking for a video where I recreated the Blue Beetle mask successfully one-on-one, then you have come to the wrong video, because as you can see here, it's in two pieces. So instead of a let me show you how I did it, let me show you how I did not. This is not my first 3D project. I did one and I created a video on it, so if you want to watch it, should be somewhere over summer. And I thought this was fun. I want to do it more often. And this was the time where I just watched the Blue Beetle movie, and I thought I should be able to make the mask, like recreate. I saw some YouTubers that worked on it. They also did it through either 3D printing or resin printing, and I thought this should not be that hard. So I found a free copy on the website here. So let me show you what I did and where it all went wrong. So my university has a 3D printer lab, and the only issue with that is that it's very time limited. It's free, which I'm very grateful for, but the only issue is that it's very time limited. So what I had to do was cut up the Blue Beetle mask, especially the top, into 4 pieces. And one thing that did not come into my mind was splitting it into 4, and I did added some grooves, but what I should have done was added little pegs so that when gluing it together it would hold and it would align, because that's one of the main issues that I faced when working on this project, that it wasn't aligning. So I took a lot of time to having to set up the print file, making sure that I wasn't printing, or like the supports wouldn't touch the outside of the helmet, making sure it would only touch the inside in case it gets ugly or in case it gets like damaged. First of all, that took time. At the end of it all, it took me a whole semester to just print out these pieces, not including the pieces that didn't successfully print. I had 2 pieces that did not print correctly, and I had to make sure I had to reprint it. I had to stay there. I had to look at what was going wrong, because there were moments where it would just print and then stop and then print and then stop, and then something was wrong. And that cut into my time limit, which was an issue because the person next to me was like right after me, which meant either I printed now, go a little bit further, or I just cancel the whole thing and do it another day, which means I have to schedule it. I have to make sure the time was right. And it honestly, it was a lot of work for what it turned out to be. So then it was time to glue them all together, and one of the pieces wasn't in line with the others. There was like a very big difference in like height and stuff, and I took them apart. 3 out of 4 pieces were easy to take off, no issues, and then one of the pieces I took it off, and like this pointy part, this part right here, it broke off, and I thought it shouldn't be an issue. I should be able to just glue it back together, right? And I did glue it back together, and it is something that I'm gonna regret till this day. So just when I thought I was finally able to just like focus on this project and do nothing else, I had a lot of personal stuff that I needed to do, but I had to speed run this a little bit. So I wouldn't mind if it wasn't perfect. I would mind if it was ugly. And I think this is like a 6 out of 10, if I'm being generous. So I glued everything together and it dried, and like the big difference, the big groove over there on the top of the head was still there. And I thought I could just fix it with wood filler. So I worked on it. I added tons of wood filler, and then I ran out of wood filler. And then I thought, oh, I still have nail supplies from when I was into nail stuff. So I grabbed that. I could have bought wood filler, like go out and buy wood filler, but that would require me to go downtown Toronto, and I wasn't going downtown Toronto until like 2-3 days later. And usually when I have an idea, I want to either execute it or write it down in detail as soon as possible so I don't forget. And with this project, I still have nail supplies from another project that I did, or when I was into nails. So what I did was I grabbed the gel nails, I put it on top, and I cured it, and I was just sanding it. And I thought, oh, easy peasy. Why even waste time with wood filler? Well, If you ever run out of wood filler, I'm gonna tell you, please buy more, because it was a pain to sand Jill nails. Jill nails. Nails? Nails? I don't know if you have noticed, but I am a very messy person, so this whole thing was very, very messy. And then I ended up buying more wood filler. Another issue with the way I work is I usually add too much glue, too much wood filler. For my previous project, I added too much glue, so it would take a long time to sand the glue. For this project, because I didn't think of it before, but because everything is so intricate and it fits into each other so well, I wasn't thinking of not going overboard with the glue so that like the eye parts would still fit. And I wasn't thinking of that until I put it all together. Again, I put too much glue on the eye parts, which would hinder me putting it all together later on. And then for the wood filler, I put on too much wood filler because I wanted to get rid of the hump, but because the details of this mask is so intricate and I didn't exactly know where what was going, I ended up filling up some of the details, or probably I didn't sand it properly the way it was supposed to. So yeah, I did my best with sanding, I did my best with gluing everything together. The thing I was most excited about was spray painting. Yay! So I went to the backyard, spray painted everything with wood filler, with the wood filler spray paint thingy, whatever I'm gonna show up on the screen. I used that, filler, sanding, still, I did not sand it properly. But this was a moment where I realized that I didn't glue together the face part of my mask. So I had to glue those together, wait a day for it to stick and dry. And then the next day when that was dry, I was excited to go back outside again, spray paint again, until I realized that the mouth guard was broken after I glued it all together. Because initially what I wanted to do, glue everything together, spray paint it, sand it, all at the same time. So I wouldn't have to go outside and wait for one thing to dry while I'm doing something else. It would just confuse me on what I'm doing. But this thing wasn't glued together because I didn't notice for some reason. And then this thing was broken right after I thought I was ready to go. So was I a bit annoyed? Yes. Was I getting sick of this project? Yes. Because there was just so many things that from the start weren't working. And I was getting like a little bit frustrated. But I didn't want to finish it. I had this idea planned already for a while, ever since I wanted to print it. I wanted to show my progress on how I went from never printing in 3D to being somewhat good at it. And I think it was important to showcase my mistakes just for future references. And yeah, here I am making a video of how I did not create the Blue Beetle mask. And I personally really was getting sick of sanding. For my previous project, it wasn't really about sanding. Everything was just going to be covered up already, so I wasn't really worried. But for this one, because it is so detailed, I found it hard to make sure I sanded all the corners. I have a drill at home, and I thought, let me buy one of those things that is a sanding disc that you can attach to a drill. So not drilling, sanding would be much more easier. And I thought I was a genius. I bought that, grabbed my drill, was working on sanding it. I don't know if I have footage of it, but I was working on sanding it and it was not working at all. So that's another thing I was pissed about. So I had to use, I wanted to use them because I didn't buy them for nothing. So I used those tiny sanding discs to sand all of the little details. And I was just sitting there sanding everything. And it wasn't working for some reason. Maybe it's because I bought cheap sanding supplies. Could totally be my fault. I was getting sick of it and I thought I really need to invest on a sanding machine if this is the trajectory I'm trying to go for my future projects. Because I do love 3D printing and I do love creating stuff from 3D printing. But how can I make sure that I am using my time wisely? Now everything is glued together. Nothing is breaking. everything is spray painted and is ready for the last little bits of making it look good. So it is time to finally put some color on this baby, and I think this has to be my favorite part. For some, I think once the color is on there, it starts to feel more alive, even though there's only 2 colors. But regardless of that, I stumbled upon 3-gram jar chameleonic nail powder, nail art glitter decoration metallic mirror effect pigment powder for resin craft and nail art. I was hoping it was working, and it worked to some extent. I think it looks really cool. Things that I could have done differently. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but when it's moving, it's blue, and when it's changing, like the dark parts of the mask are giving purple, which I think is a really cool effect. I could have done 2 coats, honestly. What I should have done, because this isn't strong enough, I feel like, put on the clear, and then when it was tacky, put on another layer of this. I think it fits this project perfectly. If only it's... oh, seems like this part is broken again. If only it was fitting. But yeah, the black part, it's all black gloss. Should have gone with matte instead of gloss. Also, I don't know if you can see or notice, I did not sand it properly here, and it's visible. See, even the eyes don't fit. And I think that was what pissed me off. I was supposed to put in magnets, but I couldn't find magnets that were small enough in store somewhere near me. The only thing that's left to do is put on the glasses, or lenses, I'm sorry. So I bought glasses. I bought some glasses from Dollarama, and I was surprised that Dollarama is selling them for $5. I think it's a little bit pricey for Dollarama. Here are the lenses. Can't even put it on with my glasses on. Browsing. I think the hardest part of this project was taking out the lenses out of those glasses, because that thing made my thumbs hurt, made my knuckles painful, and I just couldn't do it. So I just cut up the lenses that I had out in half, glued it on there with 1-second glue. Is that what you guys call it? And how it turned out. Here is my Blue Beetle mask. I, again, give it like a 6. I think the color is really cool. But also, again, you can see all the imperfections that are on here. Didn't sand it properly here. You can see the wood filler, the nail thingy. There's still a little bump, which isn't too noticeable, honestly. But honestly, it is what it is. It's a learning opportunity. And I think for the time being, I will be done with making masks. And with that, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Comments, any tips that you have for me, please. On this channel, I'm going to restart the solo artist curriculum. My goal is to upload once every 3 weeks. I have classes, okay? So bear with me. My goal is to upload once every 3 weeks. I will start posting the first video in October. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. And yeah, I guess I'll call it a day. Bye.